if you can do your gig with the poi as your second item, but you keep the poi in the baggie, you could not spin off still, and then you should still be able to do a ground score as long as the bag was closed. So if you have the right surface for it, obviously ground scores on grass are not really possible, or dirt, dirt maybe if it's tight enough, hacked dirt, maybe you could do it, but it's messy on the poi. Also, the challenge, I don't know which kind of ground scores you've been doing, whether you've been doing the circles or you've been doing the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks are cool and easier to do in a certain sense because you're just really getting it down on the ground. The ground score itself with the circle, I think the monkey fist is a little bit more challenging to use than what I have, which is a cylindrical shaped one with a swivel. So it actually rolls, and it has a swivel, like the leash is here, but there's a swivel here at the head so that it rolls across the ground as I'm spinning it. And I think that's a little bit better. I find that the round ones tend to hop and skip and bounce because it can't get clean contact with the ground. And you're also, what ends up happening if you have the swivel at the head and you have a cylinder. This is one of the reasons why I use a cylinder shaped one, not the monkey fist. I mean, there's several reasons, but that's one of the biggest ones. When you have the cylinder and it's going around because of the swivel, you have contact the whole time, so you get a really big ground score. That's however long your wick is, it's that deep. Whereas even if you have a swivel on a monkey fist head, you're only making contact with a very small portion of the monkey fist, so you don't get as big a trail, if you will. Even if you can get it to cleanly glide on the ground, which is tough. I would bet if you got a set that has a cylinder, you'll have a better time with it, even if you don't have the swivel at the head, because the cylinder it's flat, it can maintain contact with the ground, and it's not gonna hop up and down as much. So a weight to drag ratio issue. So if you could have the same head that you have now, which is your monkey fist, and you could have it on something with your thick rope like this, or you could have it on something with a thinner rope like this, and it's going to feel very different because of the drag that comes from the size of this rope and the weight of the rope, which distributes the weight along the poi differently than a thinner rope, which makes you feel it more in the head. The weight that you're feeling in the head isn't just a matter of how long the poi is, it's also a matter of how thick the cord is. So if he had thinner cord and you were using something with thinner cord and the same-ish size head, it's because of the ratio that's getting sucked into, and the drag that's getting sucked into the leash of your thick cord. Partly. And the thing that you can look at to really examine and see how different his materials are than yours is on the monkey fist itself with the cord going around. You can look at the thickness of the Kevlar tape that was used. The other thing is yours may have shrunk in size because it may be more used than his. So the wicks, as they get utilized more, get smaller. So they may have started as the same size, but then gotten smaller over time because of the use. They 100% shrink. And then your burn time shrinks over time too, which makes sense, right? you are burning the Kevlar up. It's just happening really slowly. I don't know, in general, because I like to be safe and I like to have full fire for the whole performance, I tend to not use music more than 3.5 minutes for a set of wicks. You can have everything planned really well, but then you can show up at your gig, and what ends up happening is they have you go on stage, and then it's hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. So if you take your props out of their bag too soon, the fuel starts evaporating at that point in time. And if you run too tight and the performance is too long, you can end up losing the fuel that you absolutely needed just by being delayed 1 or 2 minutes on stage waiting to go on. And the thing is, you don't always have control of that unless you tell them, like this is part of gig bookings and being sure that you know beginning to end like the full requirement that you have. And sometimes when you're part of a bigger show, you end up in a situation where you have no control over being delayed. So this is one of those times where it makes a lot of sense to have everything in the bag, take the bag with you on the stage and not take it out of the bag until you know for sure you're really going on. They were younger artists, and by younger I mean they were chronologically younger, but they were like they were like a new act, and they had all only been spinning like whatever, a year and a half or 2 years or something, which is certainly fine to be doing pro gigs, but it was I was so heartbroken for them. I was like, oof, that is yes, they would have benefited from coaching for sure, but not my act, not my circus, not my ponies.